For this question, we're going to use a CAS calculator to sketch the graph of 4y minus x equals 8 over the interval x is an element of -12 to 8, both included. And we're going to clearly label the endpoints and any axial intercepts with their coordinates. On the CAS calculator, go into the main menu. Next, what we want to do is type in the equation. So we have 4 times y subtract x is equal to 8. And hit execute. So that's the equation of the line. It's been slightly rearranged there. What we want to do now is we want to go into the keyboard and go into Math 3, and you can see this straight up and down line, and we're going to use this to restrict the interval of the line. So we only want to go between -12, so we put in -12, and we have x being greater than or equal to that point, because that's the same in set notation as the interval that's given, so the square bracket included that point. Then we have x is less than or equal to 8, and again that point was included because it had a square bracket. If we tap on the graph icon, we bring up our graph screen, and what we want to do is highlight this and drag it into the graph screen. And what you can see has happened is the line hasn't been restricted. So this may or may not work for yours depending on the update that you've got. So I'm going to go edit and clear my graph screen, and what we're going to do is we're going to troubleshoot this problem. So what I suspect has occurred is that it doesn't like that it has 4y minus x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this and go interactive, equation inequality, solve, and we're going to solve for y. So we have a y equals mx plus c equation. Next, instead of having y involved in the straight line, I'm just going to drag what it's equal to, and then I'm going to put my restriction next to that. So if I do that and drag it all down, hopefully this time it will stop at -12, which it has, and it will stop at 8, which it has. So to get the full view in, we can use the subtraction key on the hard keypad to zoom out. So there's our line interval. Next we can go analysis G-solve, and we can find our key features. So I'm going to use the root button to find the x-intercept. So it's found that at -8, 0. So I'm going to hit execute, and that will lock that point onto the graph so I can see it later. Then if I go analysis G-solve y-intercept, I get the y-intercept at 0, 2. If I hit execute, it will put that point on the graph. And now to find the endpoints, I can go analysis G-solve xcal ycal. So I want to calculate a y value based on an x, and the x value I'm going to put in is -12. And if I press execute, that will put that point there for me, so that's the endpoint. And if I press execute, it will put the value in there, so it's a little bit messy, but it's locked that value down for me. And if I go analysis G-solve xcal ycal and do another y calculate based on the other endpoint, which is 8, it will give me that value, and we can hit execute to lock that down. So now we have all our key features and endpoints found, so we can now do a by hand sketch of this line. So from the CAS calculator we could redraw this for ourselves. And now the important thing to point out is that we've got our x and y intercepts labelled with their coordinates, which we found using the analysis G-solve menu. And similarly, when we used xcal and ycal, we were able to generate the two endpoints. And because we've got square brackets here, that means it's included. And an included point on the graph will have a coloured in dot. Alright, so these endpoints are both coloured in because they're both included points on the graph.